Hello, I'm John Eldredge, and welcome to the Ransomed Heart audio podcast. For more information on Ransomed Heart Ministries, our resources and events, please visit us online at www.ransomedheart.com. Welcome to the Ransomed Heart podcast. That's all, folks.
Take two.
Yeah, take two. Take 17. Where are my pants? Welcome to the Ransomed Heart podcast. I'm John Eldredge, and it is towards the end of summer here in August. Last podcast, Craig McConnell and I were just reflecting on what the summer's been like for me and some of the ways that we've been finding God in the midst of some crisis and chaos. But I didn't get a chance, Craig, to ask you about your summer and to reflect on that. I think our listeners would really, really be interested to hear your story.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. The summer started helping our Swiss allies do boot camp, and that actually feels like a year ago.
Does it?
Oh, yeah. Just amazing time. And returning from the boot camp, I begin to notice some physical symptoms that are the leukemia I was diagnosed with. And so my summer has been spent dealing with a shift in my health and just acknowledging that more action is required. So my summer has not been anywhere close to what I was hoping for, because I've just been preoccupied with dealing with doctors and so on and so forth.
Right. Even when you were able to go see your girls in L.A.
Yeah. Spent some time The story I want to tell about the summer, which seems like a centerpiece for me, John, is went down to MD Anderson to get some medical advice and opinions as to treatment, diagnosis, prognosis, and so on and so forth. And I was going down there. I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting to be just a body that they poked and drew blood and prodded and probed, and it was phenomenal. It was absolutely fun. It was the turning point, I think, with my cancer diagnosis, and it was the turning point of the summer, and God was there. It was just a remarkable experience that I'm still kind of basking in.
Why? I mean, I'm thinking that sounds horrible.
Yeah,
you
huge.
Go down for 3 days of medical tests.
Yeah. Thousands of cancer patients.
Massive medical center in hot Houston.
Yeah.
How is that amazing?
Well, what made it amazing was just God being there. I mean, we walked into this kind of Ronald McDonald hotel, and there was just the presence of God. It's you don't know in those situations. Is it the medical center, or is it that God is just all around me? Is my experience unique to me, or are others having this?
Right.
Is this?
Sure.
I don't know, but he just showed up, and we're in the lobby of this hotel, and people walk in who recognize us from boot camp and Lori from Captivating, and they share their hearts, their stories. But the whole story is just about, John, in the presence of God, there's just so much hope in life, and it's just remarkable. Your story is your circumstances or your relationships, whether that's health or whatever, and God shows up, and it's just they all find their proper place. There's just hope. I just found myself, John, feeling like God just came through people, through doctors, that there was some kind of button on me that said, take care of this one, love on this one, give this particular patient kindness. And it felt like bureaucrats, administrators, hardened nurses that you would normally expect just to be a number or just another face. It felt like they were all angels. And there was just something about God being there that it just, in his presence, there's hope, there's life. One of the medics said that the terrain for cancer is hopelessness and despair, and that that's the real battle, is the battle of the heart to not to go to hopelessness and despair. These aren't Christians that I know of, and they were simply saying that they can measure and see the difference between a person who's given in to hopelessness and despair. And it's then I realized that's the battle I think I've been losing or fighting, and the outcome's been uncertain. So he came. I felt this hope, the hope of Christ. I actually spent one day just walking the halls. Lori was off doing something and I had a few hours. I was just walking the massive halls, going through the head and spine cancer area, all these trauma sections, and sitting in the waiting rooms and just looking for Christ, and felt like I saw him. I didn't actually see him, but just moving through the aisles of people waiting with bandages and all kinds of conditions. Just felt like he is there for the hopeless. He's there for the broken. I'm struggling to be articulate here, but it was my summer has just been, I think, defined by those 3 days of being in the presence of Christ in a place that I've never experienced him.
Okay, here's what I have to ask. I want you to describe, what is it like now to have hope versus prior?
Having hope, I'm not preoccupied with myself as I was. That's the big difference. I'm not preoccupied with my health and my future. That something lifted there. The story's larger. Hope frees me to see a larger story. Without hope, you don't see it. There is no larger story. It's these circumstances. It's this prognosis. So it feels like a lightning. It feels like I have perspective. I'm oriented. And it feels like I think the biggest thing at this moment is just other-centered again. I'm just not preoccupied with my fate, my disease, what's God doing, and just all of that.
That's just huge. That's I think it's the beginning of Colossians. I don't have my scripture right in front of me here, so this is from memory, but Paul talks about the faith and the love, and the phrase is that spring from the hope that you have. There's something about hope that allows you to love, right? Whereas the absence of hope, was really brutalizing you earlier in the summer. Okay, so the yard guy here has decided to cut the grass while we're doing this, and you know what? I don't care. So what you're hearing in the background is a lawnmower going by. But, Craig, I know this is your personal story. I know that God is very intimate with you in it, very intimate. But I just have to say that the theme of the fight is against hopelessness and despair is way beyond you. And I think huge. I mean, I don't want to say universal, but I want to say pretty big for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's how the enemy wants to take us out in some form or other, whether it's disappointment or a crisis, loss, or just sheer weariness, of just the day in and day out of life wearing you down. The battle does seem to be with hopelessness and despair. And the difference that you experienced finding God and the restoration of hope is huge.
Yeah. No, it's physiologically, the terrain for cancer is hopelessness and despair. Just what does hopelessness and despair do to you spiritually, emotionally? I mean, it is another way of putting it, it's the terrain of death. It's a culture of death. And yeah.
I know that you've probably had dozens of battles with this, but can you name an agreement that you have had to break? Recognizing this now?
Yeah. The big one is that this is bigger than God, that this is outside, that the diagnosis of cancer sets in motion a number of dominoes that God is not a part of. You know, the biggest agreement is that something now is set in motion that God can't alter and that I can't alter. Depression, the blues, a giving up, a hopelessness, all these things are symptomatic of cancer and natural and
exactly.
And that there's
unavoidable, inevitable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That, going back to the podcast last week, that's all there is crisis, chaos, death.
Yes.
Erosion, deterioration.
Right.
And that you subtly get preoccupied with those things and make the agreement that's your reality.
Yeah.
And the whole story is about you. And you lose a large story, you lose hope.
So name the agreement again that you broke.
That this is bigger than God.
Yeah. Gang, whatever that may be for you right now, that's huge. I mean, I know the Spirit's speaking through Craig's story, and whatever it may be, the prodigal daughter, the marriage, your finances, your own health, just my goodness, we can all begin to tick off things, and the temptation there is to make agreements that this is outside of God. This is beyond God. This particular struggle is for some reason, my particular struggle is outside the realm of God, and thus the loss of hope. And so to recognize those agreements, see the battle for your heart, break those agreements so that hope can be, restored, renewed, re-experienced, re-embraced. Now, here's the huge thing, and I'm just blown away by this. Okay, so driving home from the family camping trip a couple weeks ago, 10-hour drive, in the car, all five of us. And so the boys got their headphones on, and Stacy's reading, and, so I've got hours to pray. And I love it, actually. I just love that drive time of just quiet and prayer. And one of the things that Jesus was saying to me was, hope is a choice. Honestly, I had never seen that before. Okay, faith, hope, and love, right? Paul names those, in Corinthians 13 as the biggies, okay? Yeah. But these remain, faith, hope, and love, okay? These are the three greatest virtues of the Christian life. They're the free forces, they're, powers, the essences of the Christian life, faith, hope, and love. Well, we know that love is chosen, right? And what makes love so noble and what makes love a virtue as opposed to an accident is that it's chosen, right? You choose love. You sacrifice for love. But honestly, I thought that hope was something that just kind of happened to a person. You just either have it or you don't. It's kind of like the flu. Just one day you catch it.
Or pregnancy.
Yeah.
You're either pregnant or you're not.
Yeah, it just sort of happens,
Oh, well, that's different than the flu.
Yeah, just a little.
Okay.
This is a huge thought, that hope is chosen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a virtue. It wouldn't be something to be commended, something that was noble, something that, would be held up as one of the three great virtues of the Christian faith. It wouldn't be a virtue, wouldn't be heroic if it was something that just happened to you. Well, today I have hope. That's a wonderful thing, but we must recognize that we choose it. We choose to accept it. We choose to fight for it. We choose hope against despair. I just wanted to offer that thought at the end of of your story, and thanks for your story. It's powerful. Really hope you've enjoyed listening to this Ransomed Heart podcast. We put these out weekly here. If you're new to us, you can go back into the library and listen to older podcasts, and hope you'll be a regular listener. And for more about Ransomed Heart and all that we're offering to help you find God, find hope, find life, come to our website at ransomedheart.com.